I'm back, and it's only a few hours later. Hence the same shirt. I hope you guys appreciated my Diet Coke shirt. If you're in my class, you probably did. Okay, so now I'm going to go over rates, which are very similar to ratios. In fact, they are actually part of the same standard as ratios, and we use the same strategies to solve rates. So if you watched the last video and you were like, oh, I got this, then you got this too. It's gonna be great, okay? But I need to go over a few keywords here before we go into this, because these are some words that you need to know what value they represent. Okay, so if I have, I'm going to write them, and let's do a color that you're not going to miss. Let's write them. That's going to be hard. I'll write over here so because I don't use this space as much. If you see any of these words, per, specifically per, each, unit rate, a, for, no, basically those are the ones. These all represent 1. Okay, so if I say that I'm driving, let's go straight into the first example. Why not, right? Okay, so if I say that I'm driving 30 miles per hour, 30 miles, you'll probably say like that. What that really means, is 30 miles per means 1. So 30 miles and 1 hour. Okay? 30 miles per hour is 30 miles for every 1 hour. So if I'm giving you two different quantities that have a relationship, that's going to be a ratio. And we know that if we have a ratio, we can set them up as a fraction. Okay, so 30 miles per hour is the same thing as 30 miles in 1 hour. Okay, so you're going to see these types of problems, and then they're going to say things like, okay, Sam was driving 30 miles per hour. He drove for 4 hours. How far did he go? Okay, 4 hours is the other piece of information that they're going to give us in this problem. And I know that I'm going to set this up as an equivalent ratio or as equivalent fraction, and they're telling me 4 hours. Well, hours have to stick with hours, right? So hours are going to go on the bottom with hours. So 4 hours. And in order to solve this, we use what we used in the last video. We multiply across and we divide by what's left. 30 times 4. I want you to pause, use whatever strategy you need to use to solve this. All right, I personally would have done 3 times 4, which is 12, added that 0 back in, which is 120. However you solved it, beautiful, that works. And I'm going to divide by what's left, which is 1. So it would be 120 miles in 4 hours. Okay, another problem you might see. You might see something along the lines of Fred drove 80 miles, okay? 80 miles in 2 hours. At what rate did I say Fred? I don't remember. Did Fred drive? Okay, so they gave us our ratio, our relationship right away. So he drove 80 miles in 2 hours, correct? Correct. And they're asking me a rate. Okay, so they're not giving me another number here. But that's when we like solve it. And we're like, okay, if I'm finding rate, what does rate mean? I probably should have added just the word rate over here because unit rate might throw you off. But rate also counts. That looks so bad. Rate. Okay. Rate is also over there. So rate means 1. And if I'm asking you for 1, do you think I'm asking you for 1 mile or 1 hour? Honestly, sometimes they'll ask you for both. Okay. Most of the time they'll ask you, they'll specify like in 1 hour or in 1 mile. Sometimes they'll ask you to solve for both. This situation, I'm just going to say 1 hour. If they don't tell me which one, I always just use whatever one has less. So 2 is less than 80, so I would just do 1 hour instead. Okay, so at what rate did Fred drive? So I want to find out how many miles Fred drove per hour or for 1 hour, which is our rate. Rate 1. Unit rate 1. A 1. Per 1. Each 1. Turn that into a song, please. Send me a video of it. Okay, so now in order to solve this, we know what to do. We just multiply across and we divide by what's left. Beautiful, perfect, wonderful. So So I have 80 times 1. Anything times 1 is just the same thing. So 80 times 1 is 8t divided by 2 hours. Pause it, solve it. Okay, you could have solved that multiple ways. You could have solved that in your head. You could have written it down. You could have done the standard algorithm. I don't know how you did it. How I personally did it, I did 8 divided by 2, which is 4. Added that 0 back in, 40. 40 miles per hour. So Fred's rate of speed was 40 miles per hour. All of these words represent 1. Remember that. Per each unit rate. A, rate. We're always solving for 1 in those questions where they ask it in that way. Now I'm going to give you an example where they're not asking it in that same way for 1. Okay, now I'm going to use another example. I'm going to choose somebody from my class. We're going to say Angie. Oh, easy, I got this. Okay, Angie reads. Oh my God, give me a second. I have to think of what would make sense here. Angie reads 150 pages in 2 hours. Okay? How many pages could Angie read in 6 hours? This is probably accurate, honestly, if not more. I would not be surprised. Okay, so our original ratio is 150 pages. Those are the two quantities that we're comparing. 150 pages in 2 hours. And we want to solve for 6 hours. So now I'm not having any of these, I don't see any of these words, so I'm not finding for 1, but it's going to be still the same strategy in order to solve it. So 6 hours, I know that hours have to stick with hours, so hours are staying on the bottom. Multiply across, and divide by what's left. So pause it, multiply 150 times 6, go. All right, welcome back. 150 times 6. 6 times 0, 0. 6 times 5, 30. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9. Is 900 my answer? No. I still have to divide by what's left. I have to divide by 2. Make sure that you did that step. If you didn't do that step, pause it down, solve it. All right, let's see. 900 divided by 2. If you solve that, you should have gotten 450 pages in 6 hours. So Angie can read 450 pages in 6 hours. Okay, now I want to give an example involving money, which is actually really similar to what we saw in ratios because really they're like the same thing, okay? So let's say that I'm buying a shirt, okay? And at the store, shirts, you can get 2 shirts for $17. I'm going to ask 2 questions here. I'm going to throw you. I'm going to make you do multiple steps here, okay? Bear with me. First question, what is the price per shirt? If you're like, per, how many is that? Use the board. Look at the board. I have it on the board. Okay. 2, how much would it, or, shaking things up. How many shirts could I buy? With, let's just do $34. Ooh, that is an awful 34, but I'm hoping that you can see it. Okay, so first step, let's just make sense of what I said. So I said 2 shirts for $17. That's 2 different units that we're comparing, right? So we're going to set it up as a ratio, which means I'm going to set it up as a fraction. So 2 shirts is $17. My first question I'm asking, what is the price per shirt? Okay, when I say per, I mean what number? 1. I mean 1, Ms. G. Yeah, it's 1. Perfect. Okay, so 1 shirt. I said 1 shirt because it says per shirt, so that means 1 shirt. Where are shirts? And my ratio shirts are on the top, so I have to put 1 shirt on the top to say with its little shirt friend. Okay, and now I have to multiply across and divide by what's left. Okay, so 1 shirt times $17, 17 divided by 2. Can 2 go into 1? No. Can 2 go into 17? Yes. 8 times, 2 times 8 is 16. 17 minus 16 is 1. Okay. this is something important that we haven't gone over yet. When I am in 6th grade, I don't use remainders. When I'm in 6th grade, because this is a 6th grade standard, if I have nothing left to bring down and I don't end up with a 0, I have to add a decimal and then bring down a 0. So now how many times can 2 go into 10? 5 times. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 minus 10 is 0. Now I've ended up with a 0 and I have nothing left to pull down. So now I am done. But I want to look at this. Okay, so I'm saying, because I'm talking about money here, 8 5/10. Is that how I would write money? No, that's not how you write money. You don't have just one number after the decimal when you're talking about money. You either have no numbers after the decimal if I'm talking about just like $5, or I have to have 2 numbers after the decimal. The only number that I can add to the end here to keep the value the same with still maintaining that form that we want money to be written in is a 0. So that is $8.50. Don't get that confused and think that that's $8.05. That is in the tens place. That is not tenths place. That is not in the hundredths place, okay? Those are very different numbers. So the answer to our first question, what is the price per shirt? It's $8.50 per shirt. Now let's go on to problem number 2. Okay, I decided to change my problem because I thought that the first problem was a little bit too easy. So if you'd paused it and you solved it and you got 4 shirts, beautiful, wonderful, you got this, but I also think that you guys got this. So I made it a little bit more challenging because I think that you guys can do it. Okay, so now instead of saying for $34, I said how many shirts could I buy with $59.50? So first things first, I have to set this up, the information that I have, as a ratio. So 2 shirts is $17. I want to be clear here. You could also use 1 shirt as $8.50 because we got that. And press question number 1, they are equivalent ratios. They equal the same thing. They have the same value is what that means. So you can use either one. They're going to give you the same answer. I'm just using this because I have it written up here and I don't want to like confuse you. That's not right. 2 shirts. But you could also use the 1 shirt as $8.50. And honestly, that would probably end up being easier because it's a smaller value. But I'm just going to do 2 shirts is $17. And now they're telling me $59.50. I'm solving for shirts, right? So $59.50, money stays with money, so that has to go down here. $59.50, I'm going to multiply across and divide by what's left. Pause, multiply $59.50 times 2. All right, did you get $119? Should have. If not, go back, check to see what happened. But is that my answer? Is it going to cost me, or can I get 119 shirts? I don't know why I said dollars. Could I get 119 shirts with that? No, no, I can't get that. That's going to cost me a lot of money, right? So because I still have to divide by what's left. So now we have to do 119 divided by 17. Pause it, do that work, go. Okay, so in order to solve this 119 divided by 17, you could either do the guess and check method that we talked about in my second video, or you could have made a chart. You guys know I prefer making a chart. I think it simplifies things. I think it makes it easier. I think it makes it more organized. So I'm going to use a chart in order to solve this. So if you did use a chart, check to make sure that your chart has the same values as me, and then we're going to go on. So how many times can 17 go into 1? No, that can't happen. 11. Nope, still too small. Okay, so how many times can 17 go into 119? If I'm going down to my chart, I see that it can go in exactly 7 times. 7 times 17 is 119. 119 minus 119 is 0. So my answer is 7 shirts, because I know that it's shirts because this is my missing value. And it has to be the same unit that we're talking about here, over here, because remember, shirts have to stay with shirts. So how many shirts could I buy with $59.50? I could buy 7 shirts. Okay, so for rate problems, I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the ratios problems, and I'm just going to write some problems in the description box and then write their answers, because I don't really know if I have an exact, I don't know if there's, actually there might be. I'll look, and if there is, I'll put it in the description box. I'll put a link to find worksheets in the description box, but if not, I'll still have practice problems with an answer key. I want you guys to practice. I want you guys to be watching a video a day. I want you guys to use this as your math time. So literally, your goal, I guess, over break is not to just forget math, right? You still should be setting aside 30 to 60 minutes of math every day. If you just watch one of these videos and answer the questions, there's your math time, you guys. You killed it, okay? please, 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 I'm begging you, practice your math. Come back to school ready to learn, ready for 7th grade. Okay, I'll see you guys soon with a video on percents. Bye, guys.